Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Vancouver Electric Vehicle Association's booth here at day one of Fully Charged Live Vancouver. It's an awesome place to be here today. We're next to Transport Evolved. We've got great teams from Oregon. We've got Rivian's over here. We've got Solar over here. We're going to take a bit of a walkabout and talk to all these different people. And we really want you guys to take it down at some point to see us, or just enjoy us at home on YouTube, because we'll be putting these out at least once a day. See you there. Tell us who you are and what this truck's all about.
Yeah, I'm Chase Barber, CEO of Edison Motors, and this is our electric semi-truck. So we're after that heavy spec Class A, because honestly I think electric makes so much sense for heavy haul applications. The amount of torque you get and power off of electric motors is being underutilized by putting the big high horsepower electric motors in small delivery vans. So we decided we'll make an electric logging truck since nobody else did.
Right on. And you guys are set up where?
We're out of Merritt, BC, so 3 hours down the road, and
right on.
We're trying to build trucks again in BC, because BC used to have the best truck. Kenworth, BC, Pacific, Hayes, Western Star, all made in British Columbia down here.
Right on.
So why?
Right. And you've got both this vehicle, which is your kind of number 2 vehicle,
Yeah.
and your prototype, proof of concept, back here.
Yeah. So this is the one that we did over a year ago, finished a year ago, we redid this one. So this one's been out, been tested. Yeah, we've gone down the range extended. I really like range extended, because if it's a perfect application. If you can get by on just batteries, take the generator out, put more batteries in. You want hydrogen? Take the diesel out, put a hydrogen in. You want the diesel because that's for your mechanics? Put a diesel in. You burn less fuel for more power, more torque, and you burn it the fuel cleaner, hotter. We're getting a 50% reduction in fuel mileage in cargo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, that's huge. For logging in BC, like, you're uphill empty, downhill loaded, regenerative braking all the way down. Like, this is one of these applications that we were screaming about for so long. Like, this makes so much sense for logging in BC. Why aren't you doing it? And every time I looked at all the cars, you're like, that's not a logging truck. Build an electric logging truck. We finally got so annoyed that we decided to, like, we'll build our own. And
Right
that's kind of where this came.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a very impressive vehicle.
Thanks.
Give us a quick look at the cab.
Yeah. So at Edison Motors, our saying was stealing Tesla's idea. So obviously the Tesla Semi had a center seating, so we needed a center seating. But it was one of those things where what we said is they did the center seating wrong, because they made it look like a normal truck. Well, center seating has been a thing forever. When you look at like loaders, bulldozers, graders, so we said make a skidder and a dozer cab. The visibility is wicked. You want me to show you the visibility on this thing? Have a look at this. When you're sitting in this seat and you can see out of these windows, you can see your front fender. See your front fender? Like, go stand in front of it. I'll get a little video of you in front of it giving her a little wave. Look at that visibility. You can see anybody in front of your truck. You can't do that with a normal truck.
It's great.
Well, here, why am I telling you? Hop in here and have a look at her.
I'll come in from the other side.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, like if you're approaching a tight scale or a tight bridge deck, you can see right down to your bumpers.
Yeah.
I mean, the sacrifice to that is going with a skinny hood. You got to go higher with your hood.
Yeah.
But for logging applications, you don't need in front of you as much as you need.
Right, and these 2 screens are to monitor the battery and stuff?
Yeah, they give you your speed, your battery, your charge rate, your temperatures on all your components.
Cool.
Sure, why don't we turn them on? The keys are right behind the night switch there.
You just watch the starter signal.
Yeah, we'll cut this out, but you can also put a tiny camera down here too.
You could.
Easy.
And also the seat is slammed all the way to the floor. The visibility is normal, because normally you would have air in your seat. The air is just bled off overnight.
Yeah.
The keys are inside the battery box where the night switch is. I think I put them right behind that little disconnect.
Right on. And hydraulically boosted, I imagine.
Yeah. Electric power steering, electric air compressor.
Right on.
And we made everything, like, this cab looks very simple.
Yeah.
But we made everything super easy to work on. Like all of your air valves, all the trucks you need your air valves for your brakes and all your air gauges by law. But we made them so you could work on them. They're all right there where you can access them.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant.
Like the one thing any logger will tell you, they want their gauges and their switches and everything and their valves.
Right on. There's the logo.
And there you got all your information, text screens.
Oh, nice. So, what sort of consumption were you getting coming in from Merritt?
We low bedded this thing down.
Oh, okay.
Keep in mind, we literally put the fenders on this thing yesterday. No, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, we were putting the fenders in. Well, it's all on our YouTube. Everyone following along is that we built this truck so we built that truck 1 year ago.
Yeah.
In 1 year, we had to test that truck out, get it working, get all the information, figure out what worked, figure out what didn't work, re-engineer the things to work better, order the parts, build it, design it, and engineer it from scratch. We managed to accomplish that with this team of guys in a year.
Right on.
That's where we've been saying that, like, loggers just get things done.
Yeah. So, are you looking for investment money from, like, I think you said you did a lot of crowdfunding
We
to
did.
get where you're at?
We did this entire thing off of crowdfunding in the trucking community. So we have about 5,000 investors, and 90% of them are all truckers. Like, I called all of the ones that would put over like $1,000 and be like, "Are you sure about this?"
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, we believe in you. And yeah, so 90% of our investors are all truck drivers, because I said what we're doing for the electric, how I wanted to do it, and they're like, yes, that's how it should be. We're gonna invest in that. Here's $200. Here's $100. Here's $50. Some people were putting in $5.
Okay, so what do you need to get to the next level?
The next level is we need smart money. We need to go in here. There's a few things that we want to be able to replicate consecutively over and over again. So it means making sure everything is all AutoCAD'd up, drafted. We can have fabricators making the piece, because the ways we did it this time was a nightmare. We had a lot of talented fabricators,
yeah.
But we'd fabricate a piece, test it, redo it. Okay, that didn't work, try it this way. And we joked that we made this truck 3 times over. We would build something, we would test it. Do we like it? No, put it back in there. So it's going to be a lot more of that to get consistent. And we have industry partners now. So we have 5-6 companies lined up that they want to take a truck, buy a truck, test it out, test it in their application, give us the feedback. We want to build 5-6 of these. Once we've done the testing and figure out if we need to do any re-engineering, build 5-6 of these, get them into these customer hands. If you notice, a lot of the renders are a lot of those 5-6 companies that want those trucks. Those are kind of what the next 5 are going to be. There's a little bit of spoilers in there. But yeah, so if we can do that, we just need a little bit of investment, a little bit of smart money to help us get to those next 5-6 trucks. Build those, get them tested, get them figured, and then we can start selling to the public once we know the truck is 100% ready to go. Because I think too many EV companies build a one-off prototype and then say, okay, we're now mass manufacturing. It's like, well, like, maybe build a few.
And you're going down Tesla's path, where prototypes are easy, production's hard.
Well,
and you're doing that with having to rebuild the truck 3 times, sort of thing. And yeah, you're right. You got to go down that route.
I'll be honest, there's a bit of cheating when it comes to production on these big trucks. A lot of people don't know this, but the Kenworth and the Western Stars of this class, the heavy vocational, aren't built on an assembly line. they're Bay built. The Kenworth C500 and the Western Star 6900 XD are built by a team of mechanics in a Bay, the same way we do it. They don't mass produce them because once you get into this size truck, it's so specialized and so custom that you can't roll them through an assembly line. We think about it, every like a 60-ton crane truck is going to be way different than a tandem steer bed truck, which is different than an off-highway logging truck. So they build each one to customers' demands. So we can actually compete in that really well because if they're Bay building a truck by hand, we can Bay build a truck by hand, and we did the math. Like our price is only like 25% more than the competitor's truck. It's not like we're 6 times the value, but because these trucks are built by hand, and that's with the level that we can build without a massive manufacturing, that we can build that. We can make those. We can be at a point where the electric is actually the nicest thing is like all our customers we talk to. And it might be the wrong place to say it at the show, but a lot of people, they talk about the environmental benefits of electric. All our customers talk about the ROI.
Yeah.
Well, what's the fuel savings? And we show them the math from Carl and all that and what the fuel saving is. Show them that. Oh, well, that makes sense. Well, what's the price? Okay, well, that makes sense. You know what? I think if we're on board with this, the fuel savings and all this, and it's the environmental, it's electric and it reduces CO2 emissions is always at the bottom of the list. And we're like, that's a nice bonus.
Yeah.
But we're kind of unique in that we can actually approach it from an ROI perspective.
Right on. I'll talk briefly about money. We may have to cut this one. But with regard to money, you've got group funding to get yourself this far. You're saying you want to smart money into it. I'm saying there's a lot of Canadian charter banks that have a lot of mud on their face for what they fund today, for a dirty status quo. And I wonder if they would be willing to come in with some really competitive rates, to help a company who's going to help us get out of that. I mean, that would be a smart investment for them. Maybe rub a little bit of the oil off of their reputations.
Maybe. We've got a few offers from other investors. We get approached all the time from larger banks, larger investors. And our answer has largely been no for a lot of it. Is right now we have some investors lined up and they're coming from the trucking industry and they own trucking companies and they understand the trucks and they want to invest in us because they've seen this truck, they've seen how we built it, and they're like, yes, that's what we want, and they want to invest in us because they want a really, really good truck. Yeah. I'm way more leery for a lot of like venture capitalists or banks, and they're like, oh, well, what's your ROI on the sales and all that? Our investors want a really good truck, and that's a really good spot to be in for a company when your customers are like, hey, I'll invest in you if you build this thing for us. Right. I would much rather be in that position because it aligns the incentives I want for Edison with the investors' incentives. We want to build the best truck possible. Okay. We don't want to our whole thing is like no planned obsolescence. All the parts on this truck, an investor like a bank would hate it. Like, for example, that turn signal there, it's the same turn signal as on that 1962 Kenworth. It's the same turn signal that's on a 2014 Western Star. It was the industry standard turn signal for 60 years. That turn signal, $30 over the counter. Right on. If you go and buy a new turn signal for like a new Kenworth, $300, $400. They're made of plastic. Like this one right here, this trailer protection valve, or trailer application valve, I can buy that for $80. It's metal, it's steel, it'll last forever. Yeah. If you want to buy the plastic one on the new trucks, went in there, $800 they quoted me at Kenworth for the brand new one. So it's like, yes, it's plastic, it's cheaper to make. I get why an investor that's trying to maximize ROI would like it. But for the trucking company that wants it, the trucking company wants that one. And that's where I don't really want to take on a lot of investors. They're like, well, how are we going to lower our costs and make it? Well, no, I can buy that. And I can put that in there, and the customer's going to love that. It's easy to service. You can actually service and rebuild that with O-rings. Even if it goes out, you can't service and rebuild one of those new plastic ones. And it's kind of our whole thing. It's like, yes, the environmental benefits of going to electric are great. Lowering your fuel consumption, putting a hydrogen in is great. But we've also got to consider the environmental impact of throwing a truck away every 4 or 5 years. That truck behind me, that 1962, I've got the timber slips. It was hauling logs till 2004. That's 50 years, 45 years of hauling logs. Well, what is the environmental impact of replacing a truck every 4 years to keeping a truck on the road for 40 years? Like, at a certain point, you can protect the environment by making things last longer and doing simple things like steel braided airline instead of plastic airline. Everywhere on here has steel braided because that will last 30 years. That nylon will start leaking. You'll get so annoyed with the truck, you'll want to buy a new one. It's way cheaper. Now, on the cost of a truck, that's going to be an extra $2,000 in the cost to build. But a mobile mechanic is $300 an hour, $350 an hour. You got an air leak, well, that's a safety issue. So your truck driver's got to hire a mobile mechanic, 3 hours minimum. That's $1,000 every time. And over 4 or 5 years, imagine when a truck gets old, how many times you got to hire that mobile mechanic?
Yeah.
So the trucking companies love that. They understand that. They're like, perfect. I don't have to worry about my air system for 10 years, 15 years. Perfect. No nylon line. Like, but I don't want investors that are just going to say, well, use the nylon. It's cheaper. Get that truck out the door. If it's cheaper, more people will buy it. And we don't want more people to buy it because we're not at a stage where we can produce more trucks. We want really good trucks that people want to buy. I don't know. I get so worked up for planned obsolescence that I've been telling so many investors, just no, I don't want you part of this. And they're like, what do you mean? No.
Well, we're going to wrap up here. Is there any question you wish I'd asked you?
Oh, I think we covered it. Sorry, I'm ranting here. I kind of forgot the camera was here, and I'm just ranting.
And I'm not ranting, which Jim will tell you is rare. Thanks, Chase.
Hey, thanks. Looking forward to doing that panel with you.
Yeah.
I mean, terrified of it, but look, I've never spoken in front of a crowd before.
Pretty car.
It is. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I'm Garry.
Probably a pleasure.
We're sitting here at the VinFast booth at Fully Charged Live Vancouver. And right now we have Rob, official spokesman for VinFast here in Canada. Rob, how are you?
Glenn, thank you for coming to the show. Wonderful to meet you and see you.
So give us kind of the rundown on VinFast, where you're coming from, cars built, what your value proposition here is in Canada. Tell us about your charging tech. Kind of go from there.
For sure, absolutely. So, VinFast, Vietnamese manufacturer, most recently has changed from internal combustion engines to 100% dedication on EV vehicles. We came to the Canadian marketplace and in 2022 we started opening stores across the country. Currently we have representation in major urban conurbations, Montreal, Toronto, and the Vancouver area, of course. The vehicles themselves, we've had customers test driving vehicles now for several months, and very excited to say that we've started some of our first deliveries for this vehicle over here, the red one, or the one behind us, the blue, the VF8, yes, and delivery starting on the VF9, our 7-passenger vehicle, by the end of the year. Yeah, very exciting actually. So fantastic cars. You'll see it. You'll get a chance to hopefully experience it yourself. Maybe even go for a test drive while you're here at the show. Build quality is fantastic. The vehicles come with a 10-year warranty, 200,000 kilometers, 10 years unlimited on battery.
I'm thinking that's probably the best I've ever heard.
We like to think that we stand by our customers and our product very well. So, very excited to be in the Canadian market. The vehicle is extremely well suited to Canada and Canadian needs. It's all-wheel drive, dual motor, and we have a spectrum of choices. This vehicle here, the VF8, that's currently being delivered right now, starts at $53,600 before the application of any rebates. It qualifies for both the federal and the provincial rebates in the provinces where there is a rebate. As an Ontarian, I'm very jealous of both what the province of BC and the province of Quebec have to offer. And our customers have been benefiting from that in terms of value proposition. We offer financing, leasing, cash purchase, of course, as well. We take trade-ins of any make or model vehicle. And I'm just really excited to have a product to offer and to finally get cars on the road.
Right on. Now, was VinFast one of the companies that was going to do any battery swapping?
By battery swapping, you're referring to in terms of necessary exchange, or perhaps you're thinking of the battery leasing program that we talked about, so we had talked about. So battery leasing has not started as of yet. That's something that we continue to investigate. Right now, we haven't pursued it predominantly because our customer base, our clientele, we had offered it and talked about it. It's a phenomenal idea. The feedback that we got from Canadian customers was, great idea, but for myself, I think I'd like to own everything.
Yes.
So we completely understood that. So actually what we've done is we said, no problem, what we'll do is this. We'll let you own the battery, but that assurance that you wanted will cover you. You get a 10-year unlimited kilometer warranty on the battery itself. So we took away any battery anxiety in that situation, and also continue to offer the battery with the vehicle in terms of lease finance or purchase.
Terrific. Thanks, Rob. Any question you wished I'd asked you?
The question that you wished you'd asked? We talked about the value proposition of goals for VinFast, and what I love about VinFast is dedicated, 100% dedicated to EV, as we've mentioned, but they're about the democratization of electric vehicles, and really being, as our slogan says, boundless together. So we are really focused on bringing electrical vehicle solutions and electrical mobility solutions, vehicles, buses, scooters, all of this product range is offered by VinFast globally. Hopefully we'll start to see some of those other options coming to Canada as well. But it's about bringing EV in an achievable way to the mass public. We're really excited about that. Really excited to see solutions come into the marketplace that will allow anyone who's looking for an electrical solution to be able to access one.
Right on. Thanks, Rob.
It was really a pleasure, Glenn. Thank you again. Enjoy the show, and hope you have a great test drive.
Right. Okay. Starting off here, Victoria Electric Vehicle Association at Fully Charged Live Vancouver. Here with the Vancouver Electric Vehicle Association, Ron Burke. He's going to talk to us about their electric car.
It's only technically 110 years old. And we'll start up with what everybody is concerned about these days in electric cars, and that's the batteries. Originally, it had nickel-iron Edison batteries. They lasted 50 years. When they failed, people started putting in lead-acid batteries into this car. About 5 years ago, we got some funding, and we switched it back to the original nickel-iron batteries. And hopefully they'll last another 50. When I'm dead, people will still be looking for the same batteries.
Right on.
They would have looked exactly like they do now. They would have been in a white metal case. This is white plastic. These wooden frames were exactly how it was mounted. We got the original engineering drawings. Made it exactly the same. So we've tried to keep things as original as we possibly can. Sometimes you got to make exceptions.
Can we do a quick look at the internal?
Yeah.
It's the interior of it.
Oh, wow. So these cars were marketed to wealthy women. And you can see why. Luxurious interior, lots of headroom.
Perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah. Also, wealthy women like these because they were reliable, easy to drive. Or easy to start. Yes, or even to drive. But yeah, you get in, push the lever and go. You don't have to get out. Crank that handbrake. It won't backfire and break your arm. It's not. And what we forget back then was the age of the horse. City streets typically had an inch of horsemanship. So she didn't have to stand in an inch of horsemanship to crank the car. Get into the car. They said, one of the advertisements at that time was, the Detroit Electric is for the woman of breeding and distinction. With the Detroit Electric, she can travel with complete control of her environment and her coiffure and toilet intact. So,
Thanks, Ron.
That's great. Was that pretentious enough for you?
No, that's perfect.
I love the Bud
Get
Bars.
back to our booth.
Yeah, I love the Bud Bars.